You're listening to the Retro Mo Podcast. I'm your host, Mo, and I love to play and review old video games and a few new games too. If you prefer to read instead of listen, check out my written reviews at retromo.substack.com. In this episode, I'll be sharing my experience with Disney Dreamlight Valley for the Nintendo Switch, released in 2023. I've scored this game 6.5 out of 10. An okay game. Loads of cozy Disney charm, encumbered by endless tedium. When I first saw trailers for Dreamlight Valley, I was very excited. That is, until I learned that it was developed by Gameloft. Gameloft are notorious for ultra-grindy, free-to-play gacha games of varying quality. While my experience with Dreamlight Valley has been better than my experience with other Gameloft games I've played, the Gameloft grind still plagues this game. Let's start with the good. Here's what I liked about this game. I ended up buying Dreamlight Valley on Switch, which I don't recommend. Try the Steam version or any other version, really. Even in spite of the Switch's performance issues, the game does still look quite nice. The models and textures are simple and cartoony, but this works just fine for the Disney aesthetic. Most of the iconic Disney characters are well designed, with smooth animations. The lighting in particular looks very nice, especially at sunset, when the light reflects off the water. At night, the glow of windows and street lamps is also a treat. The voice acting is very solid. The original voice actors for more than half of the game's characters returned for their roles: Stitch, Moana, Mirabelle, Mulan, Gaston, Pumbaa, Nala, Buzz, Rapunzel, Mother Gothel, Ariel, Eric, Ursula, Beast, Sully, Wally, Eve, Tiana, Jafar, Jack Skellington, and of course the classic Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Donald, and Daisy. The sound-alikes for the remaining characters are also very good, especially the Frozen characters. At times, the writing just seems like functional content needed to fill out the enormous amount of quests and interactions they've created, but I also found myself chuckling at some clever lines. I rarely felt like the Disney characters were misrepresented. I have to give credit to Gameloft here. They executed these characters very well, and that is one of the greatest strengths of this game. Do you want to hang out and interact with your favorite Disney characters in a cozy village? Then you'll probably enjoy spending some time in Dreamlight Valley. The main storyline is slim, but effective. You slowly unravel the mystery of the Forgetting, and you pursue a villain called the Forgotten. The conclusion of the main story questline was surprisingly touching. Now, the music in this game is absolutely stunning. We have French composer Marc-Antoine Gagnon to thank for this gorgeous soundtrack. Dreamlight Valley is his first major credit, though it seems he's also been tapped to compose the score for Gameloft's upcoming Dungeons & Dragons game. It's hard to put into words just how important a great soundtrack is for a game like Dreamlight Valley. The familiar Disney motifs are expertly handled, but the fully original tracks are just as magical, honestly. Gameloft doesn't deserve this guy. There's even a bouncy village track that feels very reminiscent of a popular track from Stardew Valley. Perhaps it's an homage to the game that spawned this massive wave of copycat cozy farm sims. The game's crafting, character customization, and village customization are another strength. There are loads of different decorations, furniture pieces, and clothing items to craft or purchase. Star coins are the primary currency that you earn by selling crops and gems, etc. Moonstones are a premium currency that you need to pay real money for, to be expected from Gameloft, of course, and some items are only available in the premium shop. I'm a bit Spartan when it comes to character customization, but My daughters have spent hours upon hours just buying new clothing from Scrooge's store and changing their character's appearance ad infinitum. They're also obsessed with the in-game camera selfie mode. They love taking pictures with the characters. The village customization is where I begin to lose myself a bit. Gameloft, those mad lads, have made it possible for you to move or remove almost anything in your village. Do you want to put Mickey's house in the darkest corner of the depressing Forgotten Lands biome? Well, then do it. Banish him. You want to create a prison for Donald out of garden trellises? Lock him up. When I discovered the near complete freedom they give you to fully customize your village and all of the biomes, I immediately moved all of the fruit trees and bushes from each biome into nice and neat rows right in front of my house for easy star coin earnings. This game was definitely bringing out a bit of the OCD in me. Gameloft have really delivered when it comes to this sandbox freedom and creativity. There are devoted players that have created some incredible village arrangements. Now let's talk about the bad. Here's what I didn't like. Comparisons to Stardew Valley's gameplay, it's inevitable, and the results do not favor Dreamlight Valley. Gameplay is really where this game loses its luster. In Dreamlight Valley, the gameplay centers around 5 main activities: farming, foraging, digging, fishing, and mining. Fishing and mining are strong activities. Mining in particular is pretty satisfying, at least at first. The fishing minigame is a bit simplistic, but suitable for the cozy genre. I enjoyed the challenge of fishing for squids, lobsters, or other rare marine life when quests so demanded. Foraging is not really much more than just picking up stuff off the ground or harvesting fruit from bushes. It feels a bit sluggish picking up items, and it doesn't really add much variety to the gameplay. Digging is even slower and even more of a chore. I always groaned when yet another quest required some absurd amount of clay or glass, which is crafted from sand. I have mixed feelings about the farming. There are aspects that I appreciate. As tended crops pop into existence, you're delighted with these charming visuals and bouncy animations. And as you harvest crops, the sound effects are pure ear candy. Wonderful sound effects. However, the actual digging, planting, and watering process feels cumbersome and slow, especially compared to a game like Stardew Valley. In Stardew Valley, every action is quick, snappy, and so satisfying. The watering in Dreamlight Valley was particularly frustrating. Maybe it's easier on PC, but I found it difficult to nail that perfect 6-grid watering pattern consistently. It just feels more like a chore than a fun video game mechanic. As you harvest crops, the way your farming buddy wantonly spews bonus goodies is a bit aggravating. You have to run around like a beheaded chicken every 10 to 20 seconds or so, or else the bonus goodies will become dropped, requiring you to press a button to pick up each one instead of just running over them to pick them up. It would be nice if the bonus goodies just landed directly onto your character. Storage is another annoyance. They start you off with a pitiful amount of storage space in your backpack and storage chest. You can upgrade these options with a heap of star coins, which is very much worth the trouble, but it takes time. It's a grind. You can craft additional storage chests, but they also have limited space. There's not even a way to pay real money to unlock premium storage or something, so I don't understand why they would gimp your storage options so severely. It's not quite Earthbound levels of inventory management pain, but it's very poor game design. I did encounter some bugs, though nothing I wasn't able to work through. I often noticed characters gliding around without a walking animation. That was pretty funny. Ariel's 3D model is bugged and will consistently flicker whenever she surfaces from the water. And once Mother Gothel pulled out her fishing rod, got stuck in that position, and then glided around the meadow in that pose for a few minutes. Hilarious. About 5 times in my 80+ hours of gameplay, the game would freeze and become unresponsive, requiring a hard restart. Again, I wish I purchased the game on PC. I experienced horrible performance on the Switch, with loads of asset pop-in and massive FPS dips. Loading times are also terrible. I clocked the initial boot up loading screen at 1 minute and 30 seconds. Yikes. Now let's talk about the grind, the worst part of this game. My biggest gripe with Dreamlight Valley is the atrocious grind that's baked into this game. It's well known that Dreamlight Valley was originally planned as a free-to-play title. It is Gameloft after all. But the $30 early access pass sold so well that they shifted gears and maintained the $30 price point upon release. I was hoping this would result in a well-balanced game design, but the game still feels like a Gameloft free-to-play game with a grind wall firmly cooked into the code. Free-to-play games make their money in one of two ways. One, paid cosmetics, which Dreamlight Valley still has. And two, pushing players to spend money in order to break through a grind wall. Many free-to-play games share a common goal with MMOs. They want you to keep playing the game for as long as possible. They want to keep you hooked on the grind. The longer you play the game, the more likely you are to spend money on cosmetics, resources, experience boosts, etc., to progress past increasingly grindy and bloated quests. While the first 30 hours or so of my Dreamlight Valley experience were quite nice, I was enjoying myself. I eventually started to feel some serious fatigue with the tedious gameplay loop once I hit that grind wall. Star coins were not an issue since I had farmed up and sold hundreds of pumpkins, which gets you a lot of star coins. But I found Dreamlight, another resource in the game, to be in very short supply. The only way to earn the massive amount of Dreamlight required to unlock all biomes and all character realms is by completing hundreds of monotonous tasks. I found myself doing the same tedious tasks over and over again. Harvest 3 fruit, catch 3 fish, remove 4 night thorns, etc. On and on and on. It's not so bad at first, but after a while it just really gets old. The amount of Dreamlight required to unlock everything is absurd. You can't even purchase Dreamlight with real money. You just have to suffer through the grind. I don't understand how this benefits Gameloft. It's just bad game design. Most of the story and character quests aren't too bad, but a few are just outrageous. There's a notorious quest for Minnie Mouse that requires 100 stone, 100 hardwood, 30 iron ingots, and it takes a long time to mine enough iron ore for this, and 200 clay. That's a lot of resources. So, who at Gameloft thought this was a good idea? Grinding for all these resources is just not fun. There's also a quest for Remy that requires you to make 22 pies. 22 pies! The efforts to bloat the playtime of this game are not even remotely subtle. It seems like Gameloft just left this atrocious, grindy, free-to-play scaling in their paid game. I mean, how difficult would it be to just slash some quest requirements in half? How hard would it be to reduce the Dreamlight requirements for the biomes and the realms? Why does it have to take so long to level a character up to level 10 in order to unlock their final character quest? I initially had a great time with Dreamlight Valley, but then the grind really just got to me. I hit the wall, and I couldn't bring myself to play this game anymore. I really wanted to unlock all the characters and finish all of their quests, but I found myself miserably plodding through quest after quest, task after task, like some kind of tortured captive with Stockholm Syndrome. Gameloft dangles the best content in front of you like a carrot on a string. Too many quests and characters are locked behind a grind wall. So I had enough and I called it. Quitting on the game this way, after 80 plus hours of gameplay, it's really disappointing. I mean, I'm pretty miffed, honestly. This has really soured my whole experience and made it difficult for me to recommend this game. I've heard that the DLC content is even more grindy. Yeesh. Maybe someday I'll return to the game after a long break, but probably not. There are so many other great games out there with properly balanced game design that don't force you to jump through 1,000 tedious hoops just to experience the content you want to see. If you don't mind not experience everything there is to unlock in this game, you may still enjoy Dreamlight Valley for the first 30 hours or so. Otherwise, beware. The grind wall is mighty, and only the most tortured souls can scale its great heights. Thanks for listening to the Retro Mo podcast. As always, I do my best to keep all of my content spoiler-free and rated E for everyone. If you find this podcast enjoyable or helpful, tell a friend and consider giving a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. If you have questions or comments, you can send an email to retromopodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Godspeed.